Grenada celebrate the big full O with Flow. Sign up for Flow video, voice or broadband during the 40 days of Flow, and you have the chance to enjoy our 40th independence with a 40-inch TV. That's not all. During Flow's 40 days, 40 lucky customers can win $100 cash back on their bill. Existing customers just have to zero their bill by February 10th for a chance to qualify. Plus, join us in store for exciting activities and giveaways. See press. Visit discoverflow.co or like us on Facebook for more details. Don't miss out on your chance to win with Flow this Independence. Promotion ends February 10th, 2014. Special conditions apply.
This is CC6 Newsnight Week in Review for January 27th to January 30th, 2014. It was the week in which the government of Grenada applied for membership in the Bolivarian Alliance of the Americas. Central Bank Governor revealed that 2 banks would be cutting their staff numbers, and parliamentarians were given a deadline to declare their assets. In sports, Grenadian aiming for top spots in regional tennis ranking. Stay with us to bring you details when we return.
Paint it, landscape it, accessorize it, renovate it, make it yours.
Your dream home is already built and waiting for you. Grenada Cooperative Bank's Independent Special offers attractive properties in prime locations. No legal fees, no loan fees, and special discounts on interest rates. And ask about our Property Hunters Day. Call or visit us today and make it yours.
Make it yours.
Large windows, large doors, small windows, small doors. At St. Lou Metal, the size doesn't matter. You order the size you want and we make it to your specifications. If you need our new heavy-duty casement windows or half-inch impact or laminated glass or any other doors and windows, no problem. What size? Any size. You get it at St. Lou Metal. And coming soon, PVC windows and hurricane shutters. St. Lou Metal, 19 Frequente Industrial Park, powered by Grenadian Innovation.
Thanks for joining us. I am Samantha Williams-Worm. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell has announced that the Grenada government has formally put in its application to become a member of ALBA in an effort to strengthen regional integration.
Grenada has made an application to join the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of the Americas, known by its Spanish acronym ALBA. ALBA is an international cooperation organization based on the idea of social, political, and economic integration of the countries of Latin America and the Caribbean. The news team spoke to Press Secretary to the Prime Minister, Keisha Alexander Grant, on Thursday about the application.
Grenada was one of 2 countries that made the application recently. Grenada's own came about during the CELAC conference, as I mentioned, as the press releases would have mentioned earlier. We anticipate that within a month or so we will be able to get some response on that, positive response as in an acceptance of the application. And again, you know, ALBA is that regional body, regional bloc that is there to foster communication, integration among the member states, Latin America and the Caribbean. It was born out of a dream of deceased Hugo Chavez, the former president of Venezuela. So Grenada is committed to joining and committed to working together with our regional neighbors towards better cooperation and better development.
The process is expected to take about a month to finalize, she says.
The Petro-Caribbean Agreement, Grenada has been a beneficiary of it. As a matter of fact, Grenada would have received budgetary aid a few months ago from the ALBA Bank through Venezuela-friendly government. So this has been over a period of time through a series of discussions. CELAC was just the conference was the opportunity to present a formal or make a formal statement on the application, but it isn't certain. And Grenada has been a sort of observer country for a while, so it's not a certain decision.
If the application is approved, Ms. Alexander Grant says ALBA is expected to help strengthen regional cooperation and integration.
It's one of the organizations that will be there, a beneficial organization for its member states. And, it's been fostering that sort of integration and regional cooperation. So there's nothing to lose and everything to gain from being part of such agreement. Already we have a number of other Eastern Caribbean states that have been a part of ALBA, for Dominica, for example, and a few others. So it's not new, and it's just another effort towards regional integration.
On Tuesday, St. Kitts and Nevis also announced that it applied to become a member of ALBA and will join other OECS member countries Antigua, Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines as members of the organization. Blossom Alexis Welsh, CC6 Newsnight.
One former Prime Minister is expressing his concern with the latest move by the government to seek membership in a 10-year-old regional organization, as he says there are many questions that should have been asked and answered before such a decision was taken.
Former Prime Minister of Grenada, Tillman Thomas, is not optimistic of any turnaround in Grenada's fortunes, with the country formally signaling its intention to become a full member of ALBA, the Bolivarian Alliance for the Americas. ALBA was established with two members, Venezuela and Cuba, in 2004 as an alternative trading bloc to the North American Free Trade Association and emphasizes solidarity, justice, and cooperation. Grenada has had observer status in ALBA, but in a news release on Thursday, government announced that it has made formal application to become a full member of the group. Mr. Thomas's administration from 2008 to 2013 resisted the call to join ALBA, and speaking with CC6 on Thursday, he says why.
I really didn't advocate against it. I was looking at reasons why we should get involved in such an association. First and foremost, we have to understand, the Grenadian people would have to understand what is ALBA. And in my view, the people of Grenada do not have sufficient information as to what is ALBA.
He believes the foundation on which ALBA was established should be closely examined and questioned.
According to the definition, it is an alternative to the present political, socio-economic arrangement in the region. And do we really want an alternative in Grenada? The question must be asked. I think we need to fix what we have if there are deficiencies in it. But to just embark upon an alternative without discussing, what is the objective of that alternative, and how do we go about that alternative?
Several questions should have been answered before the government made the move to become an ALBA member, he says.
First question we have to answer is, do we need an alternative socio-political economic arrangement? Because that is what ALBA is all about. It's an alternative to NAFTA. Furthermore, I believe that in the Caribbean, we need to have a common foreign policy. For instance, the most developed nations in CARICOM are not in ALBA, and they have not expressed any intention to join. Jamaica not in it, Guyana not in it, Barbados not in it.
Mr. Thomas also expressed concern that there has already been marked differences among member states within ALBA.
It is more of the countries with a particular ideology to a certain extent. And I don't think now is the time for us to get involved in ideological leaning. I think as a Caribbean people, we should be open and free to deal with all nations, to try to create partnerships and to work together, to engage each other without any ideological leaning. Because you must also be aware that ALBA has taken certain decisions already, which both Antigua and St. Vincent had to distance themselves from.
In December, the present Dr. Keith Mitchell administration accessed some $10 million from the ALBA Bank for budgetary support, and proponents of the group have said it can provide funding for developmental projects in member countries. Beverly Sinclair, CC6 Newsnight.
Unemployment figures are expected to rise further in the coming months as two financial institutions use retrenchment of staff to reduce their operating cost. And one union will also be affected as it represents workers in both establishments.
Workers at two major banks that operate in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, First Caribbean International and RBTT, will be embarking on staff cuts as they deal with the economic crisis that is impacting their businesses. This was revealed by Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Sir Dwight Venner, when he addressed the region on Tuesday in a live teleconference. FCIB and RBTT both have operations in Grenada, and Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union represents workers at both institutions. President General of the union, Chester Humphrey, speaking with CC6 Newsnight on Wednesday, says this will further affect the union, which has already lost hundreds of workers through retrenchment and closure of businesses.
TAO will be affected because we represent in Grenada workers in both RBTT and First Caribbean. First Caribbean has had some ongoing talks now with the unions, both TAO and other regional unions. There were several meetings in Miami that our union attended, represented through Andre Lewis, the first vice president. And First Caribbean announced that they were going to cut jobs by 10%. 10% of the jobs regionally will go.
Mr. Humphrey says the workers are aware that the cuts are coming, as they were given options to move the process along.
So what they have done first was to offer, on insistence of the unions, they offered voluntary separation. So they asked workers to apply, and several workers have applied. Now, if they don't achieve the numbers of the cut by that process, then they will come now to mandatory cuts. So the next phase in this which is coming is the mandatory cuts, and we have not yet had word on that.
The union and RBTT have not yet commenced discussions on termination of employees, Mr. Humphrey says, but the current trend shows that it is a real possibility.
RBTT, for example, I speak to you right now, and in 1 hour from now we are going to be signing this collective agreement at the Ministry of Labour, and we were only able to pick up, well, we got a 5% increase for 2013, but it's 1% for 2014 and 1% for 2015. So it's 7% over a 3-year agreement. And during those negotiations, the bank pointed out the high level of non-performing loans, the fact that the bank's profitability has contracted, and therefore it is going to, it has to reorganize, and we anticipate that there are going to be some loss of jobs there as well in that bank.
Creative measures are needed to revive the economy in the current economic crisis, and Mr. Humphrey says if this does not happen, more jobs will be lost.
I already said to people, and I repeat, this road, meaning this crisis, ends in Greece. If you want to know where this road leads, it leads to Greece. We've seen it in Barbados. In Greece, they've had to do it. Thousands of public sector jobs have been cut. Right? No, we could take a decision. Do we hasten it? Or do we try to mitigate it by taking measures?
Janelle Andrews, CC6 Newsnight.
When we return, a call to action for the region's private sector.
Say hello to the Digicel DL700, our newest best value Android smartphone with a 4-inch display, front-facing camera, and a 5-megapixel rear camera. It's perfect for snapping and sharing. Plus, it's super fast, so you can play more, do more, and listen more. And choose to download from over 1 million apps in the Google Play Store. The Digicel DL700, the latest addition in the Digicel Android smartphone range. Make the smart choice. Be extraordinary. Digicel. Grenada, celebrate the big 4-0 with Flow. Sign up for Flow video, voice, or broadband during the 40 days of Flow, and you have the chance to enjoy our 40th independence with a 40-inch TV. That's not all. During Flow's 40 days, 40 lucky customers can win $100 cash back on their bill. Existing customers just have to zero their bill by February 10th for a chance to qualify. Plus, join us in store for exciting activity and giveaways. See press. Visit discoverflow.co or like us on Facebook for more details. Don't miss out on your chance to win with Flow this independence. Promotion ends February 10th, 2014. Special conditions apply.
Breeze removes stains in the first wash. The other detergents, not always. You have to wash it all again and use twice the amount. So, which one costs more? Do the math. Choose Breeze. Unbeatable stain removal.
Welcome back. Parliamentarians have been given a deadline to declare their assets to the Office of the Integrity Commission in St. George's, and if he fulfills his promise, the Prime Minister will be the first to do so.
Parliamentarians in both the lower and upper houses of Parliament have been asked to declare their assets to the Office of the Integrity Commission by March. Minister of Foreign Affairs Honourable Nicholas Steele confirmed this during Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing in St. George's and says he intends to do so by the middle of next month.
I have been informed by the Integrity Commission that I must declare my assets by the 4th of March. It is my intention to declare my assets by the middle of February and give them enough time between then and the 4th of March to ask any further questions or so they would like. But yes, the date has been set.
A new commission was appointed last November following the approval of new legislation in 2012 under the Public Life Act, coming out of suggestions made by the former commission to correct deficiencies in the previous law.
We have been speaking about the Integrity Commission in leading up to 2008, so as the previous administration. The 2008 elections, results of the 2008 elections, prevented an NNP government from seeing through with their promise. But we have made the various changes in legislation in 2013 to allow the functioning of an Integrity Commission. And as such, within the first quarter of 2014, that Integrity Commission will begin to function. There's no longer talk. We will have an Integrity Commission that will be functioning. And from here on, each and every minister, each and every parliamentarian, and down to a certain level in terms of our statutory bodies and so, each and every high-level public servant is now accountable to the Integrity Commission.
During the presentation of the 2014 budget last December, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Dr. Keith Mitchell said he will be the first parliamentarian to declare his assets to the Office of the Integrity Commission.
We took a new Integrity in Public Life Act to Parliament to correct the deficiencies in the previous law. A new commission has also now been installed. I am now awaiting a call from the Commission to make my declaration. As promised, I hope to do so in the first quarter of 2014, which represents the anniversary of our time in office.
Reports are that members of the lower house will be presented by March 4th, while members of the upper house should declare their assets by the following day. According to the Public Life Act, the Governor-General shall appoint an auditor to examine and verify the contents and accuracy of the declarations. All information relating and pertaining to declarations, according to law, shall be treated as secret and confidential, and any unauthorized person who violates this section of the law commits an offense. The penalty for this offense on summary conviction is a fine not exceeding 20,000 EC dollars or 1 year imprisonment. Blossom Alexis Welsh, CC6 Newsnight.
There is strength in numbers is a message from the head of the region's umbrella financial institution, as he called on the private sector to take a new approach to business and have an impact on the country's development.
Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Sir Dwight Venner, in the broadcast of his annual review of the region's performance, says the private sector has a key role to play in revival of sagging economies. In his address, which was broadcast via teleconference to ECCB offices in the member states, the governor says a dynamic and innovative private sector is absolutely vital to the region's development. Executive Director of the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Hazeland Hutchinson, who participated in the video conference, says what was highlighted in the governor's address is what is needed among the region's businesses.
I received it as a strong call to action for the private sector. He recognized the challenges that the private sector was facing, but at the same time, he felt that the private sector was able, because of, I suppose, the expertise that is amongst the private sector, to be more dynamic, more innovative.
The governor several times said the private sector need to become better organized, and Mrs. Hutchinson says there is merit in businesses working together as one unit.
We have been told that if we are more organized, there is access to funds to help in terms of development, marketing, and such. And so there are positive benefits from being an organized association entity as a private sector.
The most difficult hurdle to cross, she says, will be at the personal level.
There needs to be a mindset change as well to how we access finance, how we conduct business. Equity financing, venture capital financing, it's new. And therefore there has to be that education as well, that education process in terms of how it can benefit.
Sir Dwight said in his address that 2/3 of the private sector is informal and only 1/3 is formal, and this ratio needs to be urgently revised. A new private sector which can significantly contribute to economic growth and development needs to emerge, he says. Beverly Sinclair, CC6 Newsnight.
3 of Grenada's top soca artists are keeping the Grenadian flag flying high in neighboring Trinidad and Tobago after making it into the semi-final of a major competition in the Twin Island Republic's Carnival celebrations.
Grenada's reigning soca monarch, Boise, and former king Mr. Killer are into the semi-final of the International Power Soca Monarch competition in Trinidad and Tobago, while Talpri, also known as the Jab Jab King, is into the semi-final of the groovy component of the competition. The two younger artists, Boise and Mr. Killer, will go up against defending joint champions of the competition, Marshall Montano and Super Blue, with their 2013 smash hits, Mass Everywhere and Roly Poly, respectively. Speaking to CC6 Newsnight recently, Mr. Killer said he was ready to represent the Isle of Spice to the fullest.
We will be taking part in the competition. You understand? When I say we, I'm in Grenada. You understand? Representing to the fullest. We're going to fly the flag hard. As you know, they take the competition to a whole different level. They have the whole of Hollywood looking at the show. And plus they have like 7 to 8 top movie actors in the world will be on the panel. You know, so I want to make sure I am part of that flying that ice green and gold hard. You know, flying that ice green and gold hard.
The contenders in the Power Soca Monarch semi-final include Miss Alicia, Destra, Lyrical, Prophet Benjamin, Blacks, Crazy, Skinny Fabulous, Swappy, Nadia Batson, Iowa George, Benjai, Patrice Roberts, Ronnie McIntosh, and Sherwin Winchester. For the Groovies, Talpri, who will perform the selection Jab Nation, will face off against artists such as Super Blue, Biggie Irie, Cassie, Denise Saucy Wow Belfon, Farmer Nappy, Devon Matthews, Cohen Dubois, Olatunji, Shal Marshall, Lil Bits, and The Baron in a bid to take on Marshall Montano in the final. The semi-final round of the Playway International Power and Digicel Groovy Soca Monarch competition will be held at the Arima Velodrome on February 9th. A new category for breakthrough artists is among some of the new initiatives for this year's competition. The category is open to artists who have not been in the Soca Monarch final more than 3 times, and voting through social media will determine the final contenders. The breakthrough artists will be determined at the semi-finals and will win a spot in the final on Fantastic Friday, in addition to a new vehicle.
Coming up in sports, 19 students complete OECS technical training course.
The Leap is about giving you the ability to explore your potential so you can keep up with the fast-paced world we live in. Leap into the future with Flow's broadband packages. Turbo 10, $75. Turbo 20. Turbo 30. And introducing Turbo 100. Leap. Let's evolve as people.
Life in Grenada. Aye, we have the spice, we have the flavor. I'm sorry that you're sorry, but sorry's not so good enough for me, baby. I'm sorry that you're sorry, but sorry can't dry my tears, lady. And each time we try, you come with your same story. Now you're sorry, but I'm sorry because I can't accept a apology.
Live on Community Channel 6 every Saturday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's Sound System Saturday.
Welcome back. Grenadian male junior tennis player Orumfo Ikolo is at the top of his game and is prepared to regain the #1 spot in the boys 14 and under COTECC rankings.
The young student who attends the Presentation Brothers College achieved the top spot as a result of his successful performances at regional events in 2013. The young tennis star spoke with Sports and 6 at the Tennis Hard Court on Tuesday, where he is currently competing in the 2014 Rubis Junior Tennis Tournament.
Hoping to get sponsorship, so if you get sponsorship, hopefully go to tournaments like during the Easter, Trinidad and Barbados, hopefully if I get sponsorship. Then in the summer, I'm trying to go to some of the tournaments in the west of the Caribbean. Again, it depends on sponsorship, because I'm trying to get my points up so that in December of this year I can play in the Orange Bowl in Miami in December.
Currently, he says he is making all the necessary preparation for all these upcoming events.
I have been training very hard, training like 5 days a week, so I think if I continue, by the time these tournaments reach, if I have the chance to go, I'll be ready. It's really tough because there's people playing from countries all over the Caribbean, like St. Lucia, Honduras, all these countries in Central America and the whole of the Caribbean. And these players work as hard as we do, so when we go there, we have to try our best because they are also as good as us.
Orunfo, who is 13 years old, leads the boys 14 and under COTEC rankings on 372.5 points, ahead of El Salvador's Javier Flores, who is 70 points behind on 302.5 points.
And finally, 19 students successfully completed the OECS Technical Officials Education and Certification Level 1 course organized by the Grenada Athletics Association.
The week-long course, which began January 17th and concluded on Saturday at the National Stadium in St. George, engaged 21 participants in several theoretical and practical sessions, of which they were tested and graded on at the end of the course. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sports, Vida Bruno Victor, delivered some remarks at the short closing ceremony.
So it is extremely important for us to have good officials, for us to have trustworthy officials, and for us to have knowledgeable officials. Therefore, I commend the Athletic Association for hosting this officiating course, and I also commend you for participating and for doing well.
She also urged them to take the position as officials seriously in order to develop athletics in Grenada. Facilitator of the course, regionally certified official Grenadian Abril Frederick, also commended the participants on a job well done.
Everyone seems willing and were ready to learn. They wanted to know new things. They asked a lot of questions. And as a result, nearly everybody was successful. Examination is something that sometimes you don't really test what we expect to test. So some people, if you didn't make what you expect you to make, don't be downhearted. There's another chance again another time. And I hope all the others who are successful, I hope, like Ms. Victor said, when we call you, you will be ready to come. And like I told you, when you come to officiate, don't talk about food, don't talk about clothes, just come to do what you're supposed to do.
Of the 19 passes, only 3 participants proved that they were ready to move on to the level 2 of the course, obtaining a pass mark of over 70%, while 16 passed the course, receiving passes over the 60%, but under 70%, and 2 did not meet the qualifying standard.
That's all we have for you in Sports on 6. A recap of the headlines is next. It was the week in which the government of Grenada applied for membership in the Bolivarian Alliance of the Americas. Central Bank Governor revealed that 2 banks would be cutting their staff numbers, and parliamentarians were given a deadline to declare their assets. In sports, Grenadian aiming for top spot in regional tennis ranking. That brings us to the end of CC6 Newsnight Week in Review for January 27th to January 30th, 2014. Top stories from CC6 Newsnight can also be seen on our Facebook page, Flow Community Channel 6. On behalf of the news team, I'm Samantha Williams-Worm, thanking you for joining us.